There is a woman named Diane who has tracked her finances every year since she turned 26. At 26, she earned $48,000 and felt broke. She told herself the problem was her salary. She needed to earn more. At 31, she earned $72,000 and felt broke. She told herself she needed to earn more. At 36, she earned $104,000 and felt broke. She needed a bigger salary, better benefits, more income. At 40, she earns $151,000. She has been at this salary for 3 years now. She still feels broke. She has thought about this pattern for years. She is smart. She has a graduate degree. She tracks her spending in a spreadsheet that goes back 14 years. She can show you the year her rent went from $1,100 to $1,500. She can show you the year she started using meal delivery apps. She can show you the year she started flying premium economy on work trips. Then she kept doing it on personal trips. She'd gotten used to the extra legroom. What she cannot show you is where the money went. It went everywhere, bit by bit, in ways that felt like reasonable responses to her rising income and rising responsibilities, rather than choices that would determine her retirement. Diane is not unusual. A Goldman Sachs 2025 survey covered more than 5,100 Americans. It found that 41% of workers earning between $300,000 and $500,000 say they live paycheck to paycheck. Goldman Sachs named lifestyle inflation as the leading driver. They describe the pattern as luxuries becoming necessities to certain income cohorts. The problem is not that Diane lacks discipline. The problem is that her brain was built to do exactly what it is doing. And no income increase she could receive will change that. Today, I want to show you why earning more will never solve the feeling of financial scarcity on its own. Not because of spending categories or subscription costs, but because of the way the human brain processes income, adaptation, and social comparison. I want to show you the 4 forces that drive lifestyle inflation. I want to show you why they grow stronger as income rises rather than fading. And I want to show you the one change that can override them. This is not about judging anyone's choices. Diane's apartment is lovely. Her flights are comfortable. These things have real value. The question is whether anyone helped her see the mechanism that was running in the background while she made those choices. Nobody did. This video is that conversation. Let us start with the force that runs beneath all the others. The first force is hedonic adaptation. In 1978, researchers Philip Brickman, Dan Coates, and Ronnie Janoff-Bullman published a study that changed how behavioral economists understand happiness and income. They studied lottery winners and accident survivors. They found that within a year of their life-changing event, both groups had returned to their previous baseline level of happiness. The lottery winners were not happier than average. The accident survivors were not less happy than average. The brain had adapted. This adaptation process runs without pause, without a sound, in every area of life, including spending. When Diane upgraded from an $1,100 apartment to a $1,500 apartment, the upgrade produced a real increase in satisfaction for approximately 6 to 12 months. Then the $1,500 apartment became the new baseline. It was no longer an upgrade, it was normal. The satisfaction it produced returned to its original level. So did the desire for more. This is why lifestyle inflation feels different from the outside than it does from the inside. From the outside, someone who earned $50,000 and now earns $150,000 should feel financially free. From the inside, the higher income is just the new normal. The spending that absorbed it is the new baseline. The distance between where you are and where you want to be feels identical to where it felt at $50,000. No income increase can close that distance for good. The brain adapts to every income level on a roughly 6 to 12-month timeline. The feeling of abundance fades. The desire for more returns. And if spending has risen to match the income, there is no financial buffer to show for the time at the higher level. The second force is loss aversion. In 1979, Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky published their findings. They showed that the pain of a loss is approximately twice as powerful as the pleasure of an equal gain. Losing $20 hurts about twice as much as finding $20 feels good. This principle creates an asymmetry in lifestyle decisions that most people never see coming. When you upgrade your apartment, the decision feels positive. You are gaining something. The pain of the cost is spread across monthly payments that feel small relative to your income. The gain feels large, immediate, and concrete. But when circumstances change and downgrading becomes necessary, the same apartment at the same price now feels like a loss, not a return to baseline. a loss, and the brain fights losses twice as hard as it pursues gains. This is why downgrading a lifestyle feels far worse than the original upgrade felt good. The practical result of this asymmetry is a one-way ratchet. Lifestyle upgrades are easy to make and painful to reverse. This makes lifestyle inflation self-locking. Once the upgrade is in place, the brain treats it as the floor. Removing it triggers a loss response disproportionate to the original gain. Diane's premium economy habit cost her approximately $1,800 per year in extra airfare over 4 years. That is $7,200. When she tried to book economy on a recent flight to see her parents, she felt a resistance she described as physical. Not because economy is bad, because her brain had encoded premium economy as the baseline, and booking economy felt like losing something she already had. The third force is social comparison. In 1899, economist Thorstein Veblen introduced the concept of conspicuous consumption. His central observation was that people do not buy products only for their utility. They buy signals about where they stand relative to others. This comparison process runs on its own. It does not require conscious effort or vanity. It is built into the brain's social architecture in ways that evolved long before credit cards or luxury goods existed. The problem for high earners is that their reference group shifts with their income. At $48,000, Diane's colleagues drove Corollas and Civics. At $151,000, her colleagues drive German sedans and lease SUVs. The comparison that was automatic at one income level has recalibrated to a new peer group. What looked like an upgrade from the outside is, to her brain's comparison function, simply maintaining position. A 2025 Goldman Sachs report cited social comparison as a primary driver of paycheck-to-paycheck living among high earners. The study found that around 40% of Americans have overspent to match a peer group. This is not weakness. It is the brain's social comparison system running as designed in an environment it was never designed for. Research from Cornell University found that higher income is associated with increased social comparison activity, not decreased. The more a person earns, the more aware they grow of what peers around them have. The gap between their position and the next tier above becomes more visible, not less. The finish line moves automatically, without effort. Diane has colleagues who earn $200,000. She is aware of the differences between her life and theirs in ways she would not have been when everyone around her earned $48,000. The comparison runs in one direction only, upward. This is the part of lifestyle inflation that income growth makes worse, not better. At $48,000, Diane compared herself to people earning $48,000. At $151,000, she compares herself to people earning $200,000. The gap she is aware of has not shrunk. It has moved. Research from Princeton economist Angus Deaton found that the benchmark income people use for comparison is not fixed. It tracks actual income closely. When incomes rise in a community, the benchmark rises with them. The satisfaction that comes from earning more than your peers is temporary. The peer group adjusts. This creates a trap that more income cannot escape. Every raise moves you into a higher reference group. The visible spending there is higher. The expected lifestyle costs more. The gap between your position and the next tier above is just as visible as before. The only way to escape this trap is to opt out of the comparison entirely, not in theory, in practice, by choosing a peer group that does not define itself through spending, by spending deliberately on what you value rather than automatically on what the people around you spend. This is not about isolation or indifference. It is about recognizing that the comparison function your brain runs is not trying to help you. It is running a program written for a social environment that no longer exists. In that original environment, matching the visible behavior of high-status members of your group was a survival advantage. In a modern economy with credit cards and delivery apps, it is a wealth destruction mechanism. The comparison runs in one direction only, upward. The fourth force is present bias. Behavioral economists use this term to describe the brain's tendency to weight immediate rewards more than future ones. Not a little more, far more. Research suggests the brain discounts future rewards at a rate that would look irrational if you made it explicit. Here is how present bias plays out in a practical financial decision. Diane's meal delivery subscription costs $340 per month. Every month she pays it, the benefit is immediate. Convenient food tonight, no cooking required. The cost of not investing that $340 is abstract and deferred. It is a number that will be smaller in a retirement account decades from now. The brain has no direct, visceral experience of that future loss. It has an immediate, concrete experience of the present benefit. Present bias predicts that people will choose the smaller, immediate reward over the larger, delayed one, even when they can calculate that the larger reward would serve them better. This is not irrationality. It is the brain working as it evolved. In the environment humans evolved in, future uncertainty was high. Optimizing for the present made survival sense. It just does not make retirement sense. Diane has done the calculation. She knows that $340 per month invested at 7% for 25 years is approximately $340,000. She knows this. She still pays the meal delivery subscription every month. The benefit of knowing the math and the pull of present bias operate in different parts of the brain. So, what does any of this actually mean for changing the pattern? Here is the critical insight from behavioral economics that changes everything. You cannot fix present bias, hedonic adaptation, loss aversion, or social comparison with willpower. These are structural features of human cognition. Trying to white-knuckle your way past them produces brief periods of behavior change followed by reversion to baseline. This is why most budget and discipline approaches to personal finance fail. They are fighting the wrong battle. The only approach that works is removing the decision through automation. Here is why this works at the level of the brain, not just the spreadsheet. When money is taken out before you see it, hedonic adaptation has nothing to adapt to. Your lifestyle forms around the take-home pay that remains after savings, not around the gross income. The reference point your brain uses to define normal is the lower number. You do not feel like you lost anything. You feel like you are living your life. When the savings never appear in your checking account, loss aversion cannot trigger. Loss aversion activates when something you have is taken away. If the money was never in your account to begin with, nothing was taken. The mechanism that makes downgrading feel catastrophic simply does not fire. When your visible spending is based on post-savings income, the social comparison function runs on a lower number. Your peer group comparison stays calibrated to your actual discretionary budget rather than your gross income. The pressure to match higher earners' visible spending is reduced because your spending baseline never expanded to match theirs. And when savings are automatic, present bias cannot reach the money. Present bias optimizes for the most available immediate resource. If that resource is not in your checking account, present bias directs your attention elsewhere. The future wealth compounds outside the reach of the mechanism that wants to spend it now. This is why the automation principle is not just good financial advice. It is the one approach that works with the brain's architecture rather than against it. The only approach that works is removing the decision through automation. When savings come out before spending money arrives in your checking account, the brain never experiences the savings as a loss. The apartment, the car, and the meal delivery feel like normal life because spending after the automated savings is normal life. The comparison function has nothing to compare differently. Present bias has no cash available to optimize against. Loss aversion does not activate because there is nothing to take away. The Millionaire Next Door research found that high-earning wealth accumulators treat savings as non-negotiable. Not as a goal, not as a target, non-negotiable. The contribution happens first. Spending happens from what remains. The lifestyle builds around the lower number rather than around the full paycheck. This works because of the same psychological forces that make lifestyle inflation so powerful. When the automated savings never appear in your account, hedonic adaptation has nothing to adapt to. When you have never spent the money, loss aversion cannot make you feel like you lost it. When your peer comparison runs on the spending that remains after savings, not on your gross income, the comparison stays contained. The numbers behind this are stark. 2 people earn $120,000 per year. One saves 5%, which is $6,000 annually. One saves 15%, which is $18,000 annually. Both have the same income. Over 30 years at 7% annual returns, the 5% saver builds approximately $348,000. The 15% saver builds approximately $1,044,000. The gap is $696,000. That is the cost of the lifestyle built around the full paycheck rather than the paycheck minus savings. It is not a small number. It is the difference between a retirement that covers living costs and a retirement that provides options. Here is what to do with this. This week, set one automatic transfer. Not a budget, not a goal, a transfer. Choose an amount that will move from your checking account to a savings or investment account on the day your paycheck arrives. Choose an amount that is uncomfortable but not impossible. Discomfort is the right signal. It means the number is high enough to matter. This month, raise your 401k contribution by 2 percentage points. Do not lower it. Do not revisit it for 6 months. The brain will adapt to the lower take-home pay within about 60 days. After that, it will feel like the new normal. That is hedonic adaptation working in your favor for once. This quarter, audit every recurring charge in your bank account. Write down every subscription, then check when you last used it. Any subscription you have not used in the last 30 days is not a subscription anymore. It is a habit you forgot to cancel. Remove it. The money will not be missed after approximately 2 weeks. Here is one more step that most people skip. Every time you get a raise, move the full amount of the raise to your savings rate before lifestyle spending can claim it. This is the only moment in the financial cycle when hedonic adaptation has not yet run. The raise has not yet become the new normal. Your lifestyle has not yet adjusted to it. The brain has not yet set the new baseline. That window lasts approximately 1 to 3 months. After that, the raise gets absorbed. It becomes the new normal. The baseline rises. The raise disappears into the same pattern that absorbed all the previous ones. Route the raise directly to your 401k before anything else adjusts. You capture the increase without triggering the adaptation cycle. Your lifestyle stays flat. Your savings rate climbs. The compounding accelerates. This is the one moment in a career where lifestyle inflation is still easy to stop. Not through willpower, through timing. You are acting before the new number becomes normal, which is the only window where acting does not feel like a sacrifice. Diane did this. Not the first time she got a raise after learning these patterns, but the second time, she raised her 401k contribution by 2% the week the new salary hit. Her take-home pay increased slightly after the contribution change rather than significantly. Her lifestyle never noticed the raise arrived. Her retirement account noticed it within 6 months. Small, specific, timed to the one window when the brain has not yet adapted. Diane is still working through this. She did not fix 4 forces of human cognition with a spreadsheet, but she set up an automatic transfer of $2,000 per month to a brokerage account on the same day her paycheck arrives. That money leaves before she sees it. Her budget runs on what remains. In 18 months, she has built $24,000 outside her retirement accounts for the first time in her working life. Her lifestyle is unchanged. Her spending feels the same. Her financial position is not the same at all. She still uses the meal delivery app. She still flies premium economy sometimes. She is not trying to overcome herself. She's working with her brain instead of against it. The problem was never her income. The problem was that nobody told her. The brain adapts to every income level. It spends every dollar available unless you take the decision away first. Now you know.